So, today we're going to talk about how to build a LinkedIn profile. So, the main components of your profile are the following. Having a complete profile makes you 40 times more likely to receive opportunities. So, recruiters will look at profiles, they'll do Boolean searches for key terms. So, when your profile is completely fleshed out, you're much more likely to have that content they're looking for and to get contacts from recruiters because they're using LinkedIn all the time to source talent and find people that are going to be a really good fit. In general, the important points of a profile to look at are your photo, a headline, a summary statement, your education, and experience. These are the things that absolutely need to be fleshed out for you to have a functional profile. So let's talk a couple of pro tips and then we'll dive into actually looking at what this looks like on someone's profile. So, pro tip number one, personalize your URL. On LinkedIn, they're going to give you a randomly generated URL that you can embed or include in places. You can edit this very easily to be your name, and that way you've got a personalized URL that's much easier for you to actually include and share with people as you're trying to invite people to take a look at your LinkedIn, right? So it's great to embed on your resume. Next, start joining groups related to your interests. LinkedIn, as we talked about in the basics session, you can't necessarily see everyone's profiles if you haven't made a lot of connections yet. Joining groups related to your interests not only demonstrates those interests to other people, but connects you to the people who are in those groups. So it makes you have an expanded network. You're indicating to people outside of your organization or where you're at what you're interested in. And it really helps demonstrate a commitment that many recruiters and other folks are looking for. Keep your profile updated. I know that this isn't like a super fun thing to do, but like when you're updating your resume or working on your master resume, you also want to keep your LinkedIn up to date. As we talked about, recruiters actively use LinkedIn all the time to source talent and find people for specific roles. Make sure that as you're gaining more experiences, you periodically update your LinkedIn so you're using the key terms that are relevant and meaning. Your LinkedIn has no limits to the amount of content that it can have on it. So this isn't the place to worry about, having too much information. In general, more information is better. Don't just use the default headline. Do include a summary section and include your contact email if at all possible. Summary sections may seem optional because not everyone fills them in, but this is your chance, much like your cover letter, to explain in your own words a little bit about you. It's really your elevator pitch for LinkedIn. Okay, so let's dive in and actually see how we're using LinkedIn. When you go look at your own profile, it's going to give you a ton of explanatory bubbles to ask you what to fill in. So it generally is very interested in telling you all the things you could do to improve. When you think about what is effective for you to update, first you see this edit public profile and URL over here. If you click on this, it's going to update a separate link where you can see exactly what things look like. So in this case, my custom URL is just my name. And if I wanted to edit it, I could just use the pencil mark. This also lets me know what my profile actually looks like to people. And I've set mine to be fully visible to people that I'm not connected with also. But if we go back to talking generally about what's effective for your profile sections, first, your headshot, ideally it's professional. It can include a little bit of personality, but you're wanting to avoid photos where you've like cropped someone else out of it and it's like just you. As I mentioned before, your headline is going to default to your current job title. So if you don't want your headline to default to your current job title, then write something else. So for me, I wrote three kind of things that I think are key. But for you, it might look like advertising, public relations professional, UT Austin student. Your headline is your way to demonstrate to other people, this is what I do. As we talked about, the way that recruiters use LinkedIn is they're searching for these key search terms. They pay a lot of money to get access to this. So you want to make sure that your profile is as fleshed out as possible. So you'll get messages from recruiters or other people because they're specifically wanting you to apply for their job, right? They've done a basic search and seen that you'll be a good fit. Your summary section, you want to be short. It doesn't need to include lots and lots of information. But your summary section has helpful information about what your interests are, a little about you. Think of this as your verbal pitch, your verbal cover letter. For students in particular, I encourage you to include a little bit of detail about what you're interested in. So I'm actively searching for summer internship opportunities in blank. That can be in your profile. That really helps someone to see. You can feature a portfolio or any information and go on from there. So Those are the basics of putting together your profile. I encourage you, if you have more questions or want your profile personally reviewed, we've included handouts from LinkedIn that talk through in much more depth preparing a strong profile. This is really designed to just give you a basic introduction.